Welcome back, and just in case you're just joining us, we've been having a chat with Ambassador Emmanuel Imohe, Chairman, Presidential Committee on Small Arms and Illicit Weapons. We recently had a bilateral talks in New York with the United Nations Disarmament Office on the United Nations Program of Action on Small Arms and Light Weapons. Now, could you tell us the outcome of these bilateral talks?
The UN does not believe that people should be entirely free to produce and circulate these weapons. And because of the problem that the weapons have been causing for security all over the world, decided to act as a regulatory agency and came up with the UN Program of Action on Small Arms and Light Weapons. But it didn't stop there. The UN encouraged regional bodies, ECOWAS for example, to replicate what UN had done by putting in place regulatory mechanism within their respective regions. And that's why in West Africa, for example, we have the ECOWAS Convention on Small Arms and Light Weapons. Other regions have similar organizations. The main thrust of their work is to ensure that some measure of control is put in place to ensure that small arms and light weapons are not manufactured indiscriminately within the regions, and are not exchanged or traded freely within the region. We went to New York because the committee saw the need to connect with the international body and benefit from their wealth of experience in this area. And we had a meeting in New York with the chief of the United Nations Conventional Arms Branch. The meeting was basically exploratory. First of all, to introduce our committee, then to seek areas of cooperation between ourselves and the United Nations with regard to stemming the tide of illegal weapons proliferation in Nigeria and, by extension, West Africa. They were very forthcoming in that meeting. In fact, it was a meeting that we very much enjoyed. And they told us that they were ready to extend hands of fellowship to us. They also recommended that we should be in touch with their UN representative or the disarmament office in Togo, where a lot of programs are in place. And in fact, I was told, they have been helping so many countries in West Africa.
Have you figured out the network of those involved in this ring of illicit activities, talking about the proliferation of small arms? Have you been able to figure out their ring, the ring of the network?
Thank you very much. We are looking at it in concert with relevant security agencies. You know, unfortunately, most of our findings cannot be discussed on national television like yours because there are things that are ongoing and security agencies are following up. And if we were to begin to discuss the details of our findings or what we have so far, we invariably will compromise the entire situation, and I'm sure that the security agencies will not like that. But I want to assure you that although our committee is young, and although the issue or the problem posed by small arms and light weapons are enormous, however, I want to assure you that working in concert with relevant security agencies, that we believe it is something that we will find a solution to. It might take a little while, but we will find a solution to that.
One would want to imagine that this issue of proliferation of small arms is a money-spinning venture, and a common man or a moderate income earner, for instance, cannot afford sponsoring the proliferation of these arms. So who are the sponsors? Have you been able to track down the sponsors?
Discussing the issue of sponsors must be taken in the context of the entire fight against proliferation of small arms and light weapons. We know that there will be big timers in this trade. We know there will be small timers as well. But you see, the beauty of being able to put in place very good deterrent measures is that you are not going to look at anybody's face. Those measures, if we succeed in putting them in place, will be implemented across board despite the status of individuals who are involved in this trade. And that is why we are very anxious to get connected with the international community, international agencies, because there are benchmarks already which have been created. We can lock onto those international benchmarks and attempt to utilize them in bringing about some relief for the problem we are facing in Nigeria. Aside from locking onto international agencies such as UN, ECOWAS, AU, there are also non-governmental organizations, NGOs, international NGOs, that have very good program in this regard. One of them is the Frederick Ebert Foundation. We know that there's in existence in Abuja here elements from the Frederick Ebert Foundation. We have met, I think, one or two of them in an informal setting. We are yet to formalize any such contact with them, but very shortly we will be doing so. Because of the global nature of small arms and light weapons problem, the solution to it also has to be global. We must spread our tentacles far and near to ensure that we get the best and put in place best policies that will serve our best interests in Nigeria.
Let's go on a break now, but don't forget to send us your comments on our various social media platforms showing on your screen. Is there the political will, and how strong is the Nigeria security formation in tackling this scourge? Join us again.